When
Yeah.
was it that you kind of felt like this kind of fits with me, Lindsay, and it's a way for me to begin really kind of making an impact in the world?
That's a
Because I know
really
you've made a huge impact in the world, and I want to hear all about that.
thanks, Dan. It's a really great question. I'd never imagined I'd be where I am in my career, that I would have this career or that it would take this shape. I never in my wildest dreams thought of it. I grew up in a really tiny town in kind of the small, farm community, ranching community in Utah of Camas and Woodland. And I didn't have any women around me that were professionals. All of my
Yeah.
aunts and grandmothers and the women in my community and church and like, maybe there were some school teachers. I did have one aunt who was a therapist later in life, but for the most part, there weren't like a tremendous amount of examples of like someone making their way as an entrepreneur as a woman. And so I just never contextualized anything like this. But I remember when I went on my first humanitarian trip when I was 17 to Kenya, Africa, with a nonprofit, like on a short term, humanitarian trip. And while I was there, I remember just like the joy I felt in feeling like my life had purpose. And, it's arguable how much good we were even doing. I mean, totally, right? Like the good that came out of that trip was really the instilling of the lifetime humanitarian in me, of just the desire when I saw that, and I'd looked around the world as a young girl and I'd seen disparity, but there was something about me moving towards that suffering in a concrete way that just lit me on fire. And I was like, I want to do this the rest of my life. I want to help people. It just feels good. And it's not that altruistic. I'm the first to admit there's a deep self-serving component to it. It makes me feel like my life has purpose and meaning. And there's something about a world full of so much suffering. And the idea that we maybe could diminish it in any degree just feels really hopeful.